Growing your Twitch channel is hard. Lucky for you, there's a cheat code you can use. It's not your pro gameplay that draws people towards you. It's what you do outside of your gaming setup that counts. Welcome to Outside the Capture Card, the #1 podcast for gaming streamers who want to level up their online charisma, build real friendships, and grow a thriving community while enjoying their favorite games.
All right, Jakkc728, welcome to the show.
Hello. Hey,
Funny.
Sydney.
Yeah, you've been doing a lot of really cool stuff in the past year. Like you've been doing a lot of traveling, you've been going to a lot of these conventions, and you've been having a lot of fun. So, what's the biggest highlight among all the stuff that you did in the past year?
Oh my god. I think if I didn't stream in Twitch, I would have met all amazing people like yourself, right?
Yeah.
Like you said, going on convention, meeting up people from online, seeing them in person, eating food, in different areas, and many more. And the growth as an individual, I think that's the key too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good because I think a lot of people gain a lot of life experience and a lot of different perspectives when they go out travel and try new things. So that's really good. I'm very proud of you.
Yeah, I didn't expect it, to be honest. It was just like starting off, I think I want to just test run streaming because I was bored. And then like look at where I am today, like, meeting people, streaming is all crazy. It's just a journey.
And it's a very interesting journey, which we'll talk about as the interview goes on. So let's get started here. How would you describe in your own words what kind of content you put out on Twitch or on, I guess, Blue Sky now or your portfolio website? Can you please describe what you put out there?
Yeah, prior I did not know what content I really want to do. Honestly, I started off playing MMORPGs like Final Fantasy XIV, World of Warcraft, and weirdly enough, as a novice, I didn't really pay attention to chat. So I was just playing my games and that's it. But eventually I kind of wanted to do more than just that. So the next category I focused on was VR chat. Virtual reality, for those who doesn't know, it's a headset that you put on your head and you be more immersed in that world, especially in VR chat, which is, I wouldn't say it's like games, like maybe like a social game or something, per se. And basically, I was very interactive with a lot of people in there, like friends as I meet, and kind of just exploring worlds, creating things like your own world, doing whatever that comes in your imagination that you can build in this 3D environment. And then eventually I feel like I want to be more creative, something that I like, which is art, drawing. Yeah, so I took that to the next level. It's like, hey, I don't really draw, I'm gonna show everyone my journey of my arts and just draw as much as I can and try to focus mainly on art. So it was funny because like I would watch my VR chat category where what I streamed the most became to like the second most streamed category or whatever it is. Yeah. I don't know. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, that's pretty good though. It does make sense because I can see that you're such a very creative person because I know you love to create a lot of things, and I didn't know you could create worlds in VR chat, and that it's a game that you can socialize with different kinds of people though. Out of curiosity, when you interact with these people in VR chat, how do you get them to, let's say, follow you on Twitch or on social media, and how do you choose which people to interact with and which to stay like 10 meters away from that person? Like, how do you navigate through that?
So that is a very tricky question and a very tricky procedure because on VR chat, like you have mentioned, there are a lot of people who like to immerse in that realm because they have maybe a different personality that you want to explore or whatever the case is. And for that, there are some people who never really interact with another human being until VR chat happened. And then when they start making new friends, a lot of challenges came ahead of them. And it was hard to guide them because you can't really tell someone how to do things. You gotta let them figure them out. So for me, it's like when I live stream, I have to make it where certain people can join me. And I was very vocal about who can join me, or at least try to keep it not too vocal. It's kind of sensitive in this subject because it's difficult. It's very difficult, especially when a new viewer that joins you, they want to join you in the current world that you're in, and you have to be vocal to them saying, hey, I don't think I can allow that. It's only close friends that can join me at the current situation. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's definitely difficult, yeah.
Yeah, I totally get that because when you meet somebody new, you don't know if they're going to be a good person or not, right? So you got to put some boundaries in place, and they have to earn your trust first, build a bit of rapport before you let them in into your world, right?
Yeah, exactly. You can't just have someone coming in and just ruin your whole career just because maybe one word they use and that would get your account banned.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that was the situation I was in a lot of times because don't get me wrong, at the time VR chat was booming and a lot of user was there, and not to mention it was a wide range of users. And at this time, for those who doesn't know, Twitch didn't have mature audience checkbox, meaning anyone could just visit your channel, doesn't matter what age. And I would have young kids coming in just because they want to be in the world where I am. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess similar to a lot of Fortnite streamers, right? Where a lot of kids want to play with them, right?
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
So you said that you only allow close friends to join you at that time in VR chat, right? So how did you
Yeah.
meet those people when you first started out streaming on Twitch? Like you didn't know anybody back then. So how did you manage to network at that time?
So the funny thing is when VR chat caught my attention, I was very vocal to another group of friends. I was hanging out all the time in Skype. And I told them about VR chat. None of them was interested. And maybe like let's say a month or two, one of them got into VR chat because of someone they saw on Twitch. And they got into it, and I was like, "Hey, I thought you were not interested. Now suddenly you're interested, right? Because this
Okay.
other content creator, yeah." So that got me into it, and I remember when I followed that friend, I was able to meet other people because he was able to connect with a community, that community that the content creator was in. So that kind of allowed me to meet new people, asking questions like, hey, how does this work? What's how to do this and that. So it was a lot of adventures. And I think during that adventures with people kind of showing me around the ropes and everything, we kind of bonded over that session. And at the time it was very fun, wild, and everything. So I think that was the Kickstarter, and it's just like being open-minded and trying to kind of understand everyone. I think that excitement is just what makes it really fun for new adventures if you've never done anything, like like starting a new game that you never played, and it's just like, wow, I never knew I could do this.
Oh yeah, I think you made a really good point about being excited about trying something new, and sometimes that excitement could be really contagious, and that's what brings people together. I feel like it's when somebody's passionate about something and it brings other people towards you. I think that's what I find about not just people on Twitch, but people IRL as well.
Yeah.
And you were very intentional about meeting other people, and then you're also curious about other people as well. And you were learning new things that you didn't know at that time. Yeah, it's really impressive. I think that's very important for people who are just starting out, being like a student and then seeing if something works or seeing if something doesn't work and then just tweaking in order to make their stay on Twitch more enjoyable or maybe more memorable or something along those lines, depending on what they want to do, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, yeah. Because if you don't do something with a group of people, it's just like you don't really get to grow as yourself as fast. I think thanks to that experience that I got, and it's just kind of makes me think about the other type of scenarios too. Like I said, like when I first started playing Final Fantasy 14 and streaming that, right? I joined a free company which is also known as a guild, or for a lot of people who doesn't know what free company or guild means, like a group of people join under one brand, a name, to kind of work together. And I think with that, I learned a lot how to do dungeons or raids, which is like hard bosses, the end game stuff, and a lot of things to proceed forward. And without that, like you said, Sydney, it wouldn't be possible because you still need people to do these things.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I like that idea about, let's say, joining a guild or joining a group. I think that's how I met my earliest Twitch followers back in the day, where I used to join different groups from, I don't know if you heard of this social media app called Clubhouse. Have you heard of that?
No, I haven't heard of it. Maybe I did, but I just can't remember.
Okay. It's like Discord where you join different groups, but they only have audio rooms
Oh,
for
okay.
talking. There's no typing. There's no place to post pictures. It's only places to chat using voice chat, and that's it.
Oh, okay, okay. That makes sense.
But yeah, I really like that idea of joining the guild, as you mentioned earlier. Finding those places could take some work, but once you find those really good places, it's so worth it because you get to meet all these people who could be lifelong friends. You never know, right? You never know until you try.
Right, right. That's correct. Yeah, 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 yeah. Like you always will find that one friend or two that will be your long life friend. I know that for a fact because I still talk to one or two of my friends from middle school.
That's great. That's great. I think I
Yeah,
still
yeah.
talk to one of them from middle school too, but I think he's in a different country than I am.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. That's tough. Yeah.
Well, you mentioned earlier that you pivoted to art, right? And then you met a
Yes.
lot more people you've been collaborating with or doing different drawings with from people from all over the globe. And that's really impressive, though. Can you describe your journey when you started doing art like 90% of the time? And then how did you get to meet other artists from all over the world and get to do fun things together as a community?
Yeah. So I used to belong to this very big art community. Unfortunately, I'm not anymore because I went with my own path. And I kind of dragged my friends at that time, right, from VR chat. Hey, let's do a challenge every week so we can get better at art. And I know a lot of you want to do that as well. So on their point of view, they're like, oh yeah, let's continue. So we almost did it for like half a year, but a lot of people kind of dropped, and that was very tough for me. I'll be honest, like I almost dropped it myself. But there was one person that kept going in my community, even as today, they still talk to me. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't able to continue to draw where I am today. So they pushed me, and eventually I met another key person who I talk to every day, rated to that big community streamer, right? And then I was like, hey, and my brain is just like, hey, why not? Let's just click on the link because they got shouted out, right? And I clicked it for some reason. I usually don't do that. For those who doesn't know, I'm usually a lurker, right? I don't really talk a lot. I just watch streamers do things. I have that tendency of doing that, and I try to break out that shell to talk more because I want to engage with the communities, right? If you don't get engaged, like once again, going back to the social topic, you don't really get much out of it. But I click on that link, I followed, I look at their commission page, and I was like, wow, it's so cheap. Why is it so cheap? I'll follow them. Told my other friend who's on the VR chat like where they were from, and he's like, "Oh, I'm from there too." Instantly follow and subscribe. I'm like, bro, what are you doing? You just met this person, you instantly follow and subscribe? They're like, yeah, we gotta support each other. And eventually it grew from that small art community to different communities where, because everyone shouted out each other and grew. And I also talk more with other people and drew more because I got to learn from them from their streaming or talking to them on Discord to really get what they are known for and what are they learning, because I learned a lot as I go, of course, right?
Yeah, of course.
And it's this amazing journey because having that community afterwards made me draw more and more, and it's because we inspire each other, motivate each other as we go. Especially if you're on a Discord call and you're sharing a screen, your clip studio, Paint, the application that people can draw on.
Yeah, I use that too.
It's great, right, Cindy?
Yeah, I love it. I love it so much.
It's so good.
Yeah, it
But
is.
when you see the process and you're watching your friend draw, doesn't matter how good or bad they are, as long as you're having fun, you just want to do it too. You just want to go along with it and draw with it. And I think that's what is so important, because if you're not having fun and you're not surrounded with people having fun with it, it's just going to be very hard for you. That's what I think. Because who said learning can't be fun? Who said learning has to be horrible and everything? And just surround yourself with people who loves it and you love it. I think that's how you can grow fast.
Loving what you do. That's the most important thing,
Exactly.
right? That's how it makes
Yeah.
it sustainable. Yeah, because I've seen some streamers who stream Fortnite 12 hours a day, and you can tell that they're not having fun. And they're always angry or annoyed, even if they're talking to somebody in chat. And then I decided, yeah, I can't watch this anymore. I'd rather go somewhere where I am encouraged to do better. Like you mentioned, in your journey as an artist, like there you have somebody that's keeping you accountable to keep going as an artist, to keep putting work out there. And I think that's the important thing, right? Is to have that accountability person that will help you keep going, and not just keep going, but keep going in the right direction. Don't you agree?
Yeah, definitely. Because I feel like if they're going on their journey, especially like, let's say, I've been going on my journey for a long time, and let's say someone wants to pick it up on art too. I
Yeah.
try to show them the direction. And I know that a good example is like yourself. When you ask me about a certain art question, I answer you, and I want to make sure that you're going the right path, because I don't want you to be disarray or whatnot. And I'll do that with anyone who wants to learn art, because I think doing art is difficult. It's not as easy as it looks. And
Yeah, it's not as easy as it looks. I agree.
yeah, and once you get the fundamentals and the basics and everything, you're going somewhere. I'm not gonna say it's easy, but you're going somewhere.
Yeah, as long as you're going somewhere, right? Even if it's just one or two steps a week, it's still something. It's better than nothing.
Yep.
So let's say I want to get started on art like you did, and all I know is how to draw stick figures, but I want to stream art on Twitch. So, what do you think is the best way for me to go about that?
Oh my god. So thanks to my art class back in
Mm.
middle school, I did stop art, but I wish I never did. So I did went hiatus for roughly 10 years or
Mm-hmm.
something. And if I imagine myself never stopping, I think I would have been really far with my skill, like practice. But from what I learned, even as today, like doesn't matter how old you are,
Mm-hmm.
anyone can start art, right?
Yes, I agree.
Stick figures can go far as well. Believe it or not, stick figures is amazing because you can do animations with it,
Oh
right?
yes.
But let's say you want to go something in more in depth and everything. I'm gonna say sketching what you see in front of you as best as you can is a best way to understand the shape, right? Let's
Mm.
say for human mind, for those don't know what I'm talking about, a shape like my head is roundish, right? You
Mm-hmm.
want to draw a circle, and
Mm-hmm.
you want to try to make it as best as you can from that circle to whatever shape of a head looks like the chin and stuff like that. Of course, the chin doesn't make it like round, so you have to draw a little bit more sharp on the bottom and so many more. So you want to practice the basics, and that's one thing you can do. Just sketching something what's in front of you. If you
Mm-hmm.
have to trace, I would say don't claim it as it's your art. Trace
Yeah.
it so you can understand how the lining work, but
Yeah.
do not claim it as your art.
Okay. Yeah, that's
Uh,
some really good tips on how to get started to just
mhm.
drawing something that's in front of you. And you can do that in either a pen and paper or you can do a drawing tablet. It could be anything as long as you get the reps in, as so to speak.
Yeah, exactly. You want to create those mental library or muscle memories when you draw lines because no one can draw a circle perfectly. And how can you do that? Practice drawing circles.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't we know somebody who knows how to draw perfect circles every single time?
uh, not that I know of. I mean, I use a meme in one of the friends in the community saying they are the circle master.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because it draws really cute
Yeah.
characters as circles first, right? And then they add on to it and it looks so cute.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so just get started drawing, and then you'll eventually figure out what kind of style that you like, and then you could
Hmm.
stick with that. I think that's how I got back into drawing after like what 10 years. I haven't drawn anything in like 10 years, and then after a bit of practice here and there, and then I got the hang of it again, thanks to other artists like yourself and other people in the community.
I think there's a lot of credit also to you as
Mm,
well. I've been watching you draw, and it's just amazing to see you kickstart that again.
yeah.
And it's tough. It's always tough. I think like a lot of people say, "Hey, I'm gonna draw one day," and like you said, you have to get started. You have to practice
Mm,
because when you're at the point where, oh, I should have started this earlier, you don't want that to become your regret. You don't want that
yeah.
at all.
I know somebody wise had this really great quote saying, choose your future regret. And I think this also applies here, right? Because if there's something that you've always wanted to learn, something in your bucket list, might as well just go for it. You don't have to be perfect,
Hmm.
just have to start and finish.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Okay. Well, while we're in the topic of art, I know you're aware about the whole AI that's emerging and then trying to create art. So,
Hmm.
just wondering what your thoughts on AI art and how we can protect our own artwork from AI.
This is very tough because protecting your art from AI, meaning you have to be careful where you post
Hmm.
and do your research on it. And for those who are wondering where I stand on it, it's depend on how you use it, right?
Yeah.
AI is not guilty because of its existence. You know,
Yeah.
it is guilty because of how it's being used and what
Hmm.
information is being fed.
Yeah.
And everyone who's confused why AI art is bad and for some, it's like, oh, it's pretty good. I don't have to draw to produce my art. Well, the thing is, yes, it makes it easier, but the information that is being fed into the system is other people's art without their permission.
Yeah. And if you generate art, it's not going to look like the ideas in your head, right? So
Yeah, exactly.
maybe if you're drawing a person, it's not gonna pose the way you want it to, or maybe the background that you're drawing, it's not gonna turn out exactly that you want it to. It's not gonna be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you gotta
Exactly.
practice. You gotta do your own thing, so that you have control on what you put onto the canvas, right?
Yeah, exactly. You want more control. And the fun part is like the whole process, anyways, right?
Hmm.
Why take away the process of being creative? That helps express yourself.
Yeah.
Art is expression.
Hmm.
And if you honestly ask me what should we do with AI, I'll tell you we should focus the AI on, let's say, making tedious tasks that no one wants to do, like farming. Like make it farming easier. Like hello, that is essential for all of us. We need food and everything. Like farmers will probably like to sit back and watch their crops grow with AI. I know that for sure, right?
Yeah.
But in reality, AI is a very sensitive topic to a lot of people.
It
And
is. It is.
for this to be discussed, which I love discussing, by the way, and it's a little bit tough because like there's some people who's very stubborn to listen. I like to listen to both sides. For those who doesn't know who I am an artist. I hate AI art, but I also love AI because as a project manager, it helps me organize and filters my data, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I also work in IT too prior to
Mm-hmm.
as a project manager. And this is where it comes into balance. Like I said, who's using it and how is it being used, etc. So you have to be careful with it, and not to mention when you use AI to generate art,
Mm-hmm.
it is not copyrighted. Anyone can take that. If you create a character with that, well, you better start drawing that character and claiming it as yours. You can't just generate it and say, that's it, I'm done, easy. You can use AI art to help you grow. There's nothing wrong with that. But
Yeah.
remember, you still have to appreciate people who helped feed that information. So how do you do that? Support other artists.
Yes.
You can't just say, hey, I don't want to do any of this stuff. Oh, here's another idea. If you don't
Mm-hmm.
want to steal art, make your own AI art. Feed it your own art. That's it. Right? Because
Yeah.
you're using your own art to create art anyway, so it's a win-win situation. It's like, you can't really lose on that.
Yeah. I think there's a Twitch channel that does that actually. I think it makes 15-second skits 24/7. And then the script or the animations are all feeding itself AI. And it's a pretty popular channel. I've just forgot the name. The last time I saw it was like many years ago. But it's pretty impressive
Hmm.
though. It's like funny short skits, maybe out of a anime, maybe during like a commercial break or something like that. It's pretty nice.
Oh, wait, I think I heard of it too, which is funny. I don't remember. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's like three characters in it that are in high
Hmm.
school or something. I think that's what I remember.
Yeah, I loved that.
But yeah, speaking of having this conversation, because I know you love to talk about certain things, including AI. You do other things on your stream too, called Serious Conversation. Can you tell me more about that?
So when I did that type of conversation, those topics like serious talk or talk with Jack or whatever I name it,
Hmm.
I tend to want to really connect with the community where I'm being for real, I'm being serious.
Hmm.
Please do not troll or joke or whatnot. If you do, I give you a warning. It's an
Hmm.
open space, and I want to monitor where everyone have their own opinions about what they think. For example, the topic
Yeah.
that we just had about AI art, like what does everyone think about that? So a lot of
Yep.
people were, funny enough, were pro or con, and then there's who were with it or against it, you know. And it was very interesting because some was very strong will about their opinion. And for me, it's like I want to use this to kind of create the community where they can try to debate and understand each other, where people can also grow from these sessions. For example, like how to give a feedback. And you need to also learn how to receive a feedback. Read the settings of the person. Like
Yeah.
if they're feeling angry, don't give it to them. If they're feeling really happy, don't give them the feedback. So you have to choose your words wisely. Like don't call it weakness. Yeah, oh, I have a weakness. No, no. Call it growth area, you know? Because you're still growing on that. You don't want to say, oh, that's my weakness. No, no. Growth area because you want to grow on that. You want to change yourself. You want to be positive because positive feedback is what helps a lot of people. And like you don't want to use things like but or however. That's just negate what the first statement that you have mentioned, right? So you want to think about a lot of these things. And this is why I do it, because if that helps someone, right, to grow in any way or inspire them or motivate them to change, I think they will take that step. And then if they do change, they will help other change. So it just makes the world better in many ways.
Yeah, I think before I usually give feedback to somebody else, I usually ask their permission first before I say anything. Because if they say no, I'm just gonna not say it anyway because it's not gonna end well. And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
I also make sure I avoid certain words like always and never. Like for example, you don't want to tell somebody, "Oh, you always do this," or "You never do this," or because I feel like if your tone sounds like you're accusing somebody of something, then I don't think there's anything constructive that's gonna come out of that. And I learned that from experience.
Right, right. And it's very tough because not everyone knows about it. And the world is very interesting because we're all learning and everyone is different. Like if you have a friend who's trying to help you but not trying to hurt you but like help you in many ways, they really care for you. And I care about my community where I even go as far as I can to teach them what I learned over my life, like all the experience I have earned to them. And I know you do that same thing, Sydney. That tells me how much you love your community as well, which is why I also appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate you too for talking about these things with your community because it's very important, right? Because I think not a lot of gamers know how to properly deal with certain social situations, especially ones that require a difficult conversation. Like, for example, when somebody pissed off someone else over something that annoyed them or something that bothered them. I think there's either a lot of passive aggressiveness where people don't talk about it and it causes a lot of resentment, or people don't know how to resolve conflict and work through conflict. Because I think in any relationship, whether if it's a friendship or a romantic relationship, I think the important thing is to navigate through conflict. And whether you like it or not, when your community grows on Twitch, there will be conflict one way or another because people whom you love or respect can hurt you, even if it's intentional or not, especially in an online space like Twitch or Discord or maybe VR chat. I don't know. If they don't know how to navigate through these emotions, especially when if they go not in the way that's beneficial to either one, then it's all gonna fall apart because I've seen this over and over again.
Yeah, it's a repeating cause. All problems kind of have like different solutions, and sometimes it's not a great solution, or it's just like you've mentioned, like bridges are being burned, and it's just like because of pride that others have. And if you don't know what's going on, let's say for whoever's watching, if you're not sure if you're the problem or not, usually people say, look around you. If people always treat you the same way, like distancing themselves from you,
Yeah.
there's something that you're doing that's causing the problem. I do that. I always analyze myself every
Yeah.
day, right? To see
Yeah.
what I have done. There are sometimes I do jokes and I kind of regret it, right? Because when we have fun, we're comfortable, we kind of do things without thinking about it.
Yeah.
And it can hurt people, right? It doesn't make me perfect. It doesn't make the next person perfect or anyone perfect, right? That's why you have to analyze. The drama could be from you, could be from someone else, but it's just how you approach it. Because let me
Yeah.
tell you something, for everyone doesn't know. The only thing that you can 100% control in any type of situation is yourself.
Yes.
How do you deal with it is up to you. If it's a drama between you and this other person, but you didn't want to talk to that person and that other person didn't want to talk to you, how do you break it? You talk to them.
Yeah. Initiate the
matter.
repair.
Yep. Doesn't matter. It's not about pride anymore. If you value that friendship, talk to them. Don't waste time. That drama that you see in front of you is just going to get deeper, and you want to resolve it and just fix it. Don't waste any time. I know it's hard because
Yeah.
I've been through it a lot of times, and I also think about what that friend has done for me, right? Think about all the good things.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, don't think about the negative, because as a human being, we tend to think about the bads first before the good.
Yes. I think people remember more the bad stuff that they did more than the good stuff. I think it's a human nature thing, or that's how we're wired as humans. And yeah, that can be tough sometimes if you're trying to repair that relationship or that friendship, or maybe trying to figure out what went wrong and how we could prevent that from happening again or something similar.
Exactly.
Yeah. And you also mentioned about having good self awareness, because having good self awareness is very important so that we can make some adjustments, right? With what went well or what we could have done better. Because I've encountered people on Twitch where they do the same things over and over again. They keep offending people the same way over and over again. And I don't know if anybody approached them or not, but it could get really frustrating when people like that frequent your chat, especially in other people's channels where they frequent their mutual channels too.
Yeah, yeah. And that's why that type of approach, where let's say you were the person that brings in that information about who they are, you have to remember that is a double-edged sword, like
Yeah.
completely. And I bet for those who didn't know, like you could look like the bad guy at this point, right? The bad person, because you brought up something and they're hurt now, and then they might use that against you. This is why I find life quite interesting, right? The more you know about the person, I think it's easier. But if you don't know the person, this is where it's hard, right? Especially in the public settings in Twitch.
Yeah.
If you're saying that in the chat, but you don't DM them, right? This is where a lot of questions and variables comes in. And so the best way is really, let's say I have an issue with person A,
Yeah.
and Sydney here knows person A. I can approach Sydney and say, hey, I have a problem with person A because of this and that. What do you think? Is it only me? Right? Let's bring it like that forward, right? And then maybe Sydney say, yeah, I have that issue too. Okay, we need to address this. And how do we address it? And this is where we can plan our way. So don't move too quickly on a lot of
Yeah.
these things. This is my personal experience, right? if you move too quickly and do things way too quickly and by yourself, it's gonna make things harder for you.
Yeah.
So the things that you do does matter,
Yeah, it does
and
matter.
how you approach it is also important. And you have to bring in someone that you trust that won't put oil into that fire. If you do that, it's gonna spread like crazy, and you do not have control anymore. And that is a situation you don't want to be in at all. And it's just very frustrating on that type of scenario because whatever the first actions that you do is very important. That's what I'm gonna tell you. It's like very important down to the very focused grain of sand, whatever that is that you're trying to do.
Yeah, I think it's important to be educated as much as possible around the situation first before making any actions, because you don't know who's right or who's wrong until you get a clearer picture about what's actually going on, as much as possible from both sides of the story, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've actually gone through this quite recently when I think a couple of friends of mine were immediately cut ties with somebody that I know. And then I think what happened was they told me about what was going on their end, but I could not get anything from the other person because I think the other person either didn't want to talk or didn't have time to talk. I don't know, but I didn't want to do anything drastic because I didn't know the other person's side of the story, right? So I just
Right.
I didn't want to make any unjustified accusations too because we don't know what's actually going on in that other person's head at that time, right?
Right. Because you need to know the whole pictures. No one
Yeah.
wants to be the bad guy at the end of
Nobody
the
wants to
day,
be a bad
like
guy.
the bad person. Yeah. Like, I don't want to hurt people, but yet I am, as a human being, hurting others. It's not intentional. And if it is intentional, like, maybe it was just, I don't know, like a joke or something, and it just went too far. And which is why I'm very grateful with a lot of people who say, "Hey, Jack, you're doing something that really hurts me," and I'll be like, "Oh, okay." Even though there's a little sting in my chest, right, when they say that to me, it is something good because that sting in the chest, meaning you learn something and it's painful, and
Yep.
you want to not recreate that same situation. But yeah, if no one ever experienced that pain in the chest, like hurting someone, like the friend that you really value, I think you just have to reevaluate yourself because, like, honestly, life is tough. Like,
Life is tough.
nothing is perfect.
Yeah, dealing with people is already difficult on its own, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why I like to say take one step at a time. But remember, don't change a person, right? You can't
Yeah,
change a
don't try.
person.
Yeah, you can't change the person.
You can change yourself. So if that person's being difficult and you're constantly hanging with them, hang out with them less.
Yeah.
Try talking to them about it. If they're not
Yeah.
listening, think of another solution. How can you approach it differently? I don't know.
And would you talk to that person if you just met that person? You don't know this person. Would that actually work or not really?
No, because they don't know you. So that's
Yeah.
why it's a big double-edged sword. Because I know for a fact, even with some people who actually know me, when I tell them about something, they actually hang out with me a lot less because they couldn't handle the information they receive. Remember why people say, the truth hurts, because it does hurt. When
It does.
even if I was blunt about the information, as long as I'm not like saying it in a bad way, like try to say it in the nicest way as possible, they still can get hurt from it, and it's
Yeah.
not easy. It's not.
Yeah, it's not easy. And you mentioned something about when people receive information about the other person, right? So I think this reminded me of something here that people change over time. And when they change over time, I think that's when people have to renegotiate their expectations about the other person, right? So I remember one time where I used to hang out with this guy. I think we used to go out for drinks and or maybe go do some fun activities together. But then he had a newborn kid. But that means I could not hang out with him anymore because of course he has to bring his kid up as a priority. Does that mean I won't be his friend anymore? No. That means I have to renegotiate my expectations. Like, okay, I want to hang out with him still because he's a good friend, but I have to work around his schedule because, of course, his kid comes first. But I still want to catch up with him because we still share the same values and similar interests too. So yeah, I think renegotiating expectations as time goes by is really important here.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like you can change yourself for the other friend because they had changes in their life. And I think because like what you're saying kind of thinks up this tragic story that I know of a friend. This is such a sad story because like she was my close friend at the time because I used to play World of Warcraft like I mentioned, right? And for she didn't really have anywhere to go and she was unemployed, no high school diploma, right? She dropped out, right? And she plays games. And then when one day I think she decided to go get her high school diploma like GD and then start getting jobs and everything, her life was going somewhere. But unfortunately a car accident happened and everything was taken away. Yeah, yeah. And that made me very sad. And that's why I always try to do everything as best as I can without regrets. And I want everyone to do that too, because you don't know what can happen tomorrow.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, I want you all to do the things as much as possible. Don't hold grudges. Fix the friendships if you have to.
Yeah.
If you feel like you can't fix it because there's no value in it, then move on from it. It's really hard to do it, but just drop it, move on, live a happy life, do the things that you like, art, whatever, pick it up. You know, if you want Twitch stream, or whatever that you like. Just walk with your chin up, be confident in yourself. If you don't feel confident, build that up. How can you be confident? Yeah.
Yeah, I think confidence comes from competence. I think that's what I heard from somebody else. And that's true. Like, as you mentioned, just put something like one small artwork a day. And that's how they slowly build competence and confidence over time. So just do things small and consistent rather than just going all out and then burning yourself out. And you might want to not do it anymore.
Yeah, don't burn yourself out.
Yeah,
Just
don't burn
have
yourself
fun
out.
with it. Draw something different. You don't have to draw the same thing every day. Just draw something like, I don't know, I draw stupid faces, and that's funny to me. Or I draw my character feeding someone food, and that's hilarious to me. I don't know.
Yeah. Again, choose your future regrets, right?
Yep.
Yeah. You don't want to regret not doing the thing. Just go ahead and do it while you still can.
Exactly.
Okay, let's move on to a lighter topic here because you're into this thing called VTubing, wherein you have some sort of an avatar of either your character or your persona, or I don't know. Can you describe what it is and why people do it?
Yeah. So this is very similar to VR chat for those who doesn't know. You're able to put on, let's say, as close as I can put it, it's like putting on a costume and role playing as that character. But in my case, I'm not really role playing. I'm just using my character that I created for others to see. And VTubing is so much easier, in my opinion, than a lot of times because like I don't have to worry about how I look. Maybe my hair's messy, and I can just turn on this program and it just shows this character. So VTuber really came in, like it has a history, right? But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the history, so I can't really tell you guys about it. But I do know when you use VTubers, either 2D, which I am right now
Mm-hmm.
using, or 3D. 3D is a little bit more easier because there's a lot of programs that you can customize yourself to make it. So if you ever have questions about it, I can probably tell Sydney where those are good programs for you to
Okay.
use because it's
Yeah.
free. Yeah. So it's wonderful because you can role play as you stream,
Yeah.
or you can just be yourself and then just have people understand that this character is not really you, it's not your persona,
Mm-hmm.
it's something that you have created, your original character, OC, right? And you can make stories and everything about that character. You can make like it's just your imagination is what is the limit for making the character. You could even be a worm, and then when someone
Oh, wow.
joins your stream, you can say, "Do you still love me if I'm a worm?"
I don't know. Would I?
Yeah. So literally, you could be anything, and that's why a lot of people were attracted to VR chat at that time. Where if
Mm-hmm.
people find out about it, because if you're a furry, guess what? You can be a furry in VR chat without buying something expensive like a
Oh yeah.
fursuit, which costs hundreds or thousands of dollars. If you can make a furry, VTuber, that's so easy. I see a lot of people doing it. You can become anything. You want to be an alien? Be an alien. You want to be a
Mm.
fish? Be a fish. You want to be a talking trash can? Go for it. Nothing really stopping you. Like I said, anything can be a possibility. Just as long as you know what you're doing
Yeah.
and don't go too far with it. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't go too far. Don't break terms of service either.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing people do it just to have fun or to make believe. Maybe it's not necessarily have to do with people who are too shy to show their face on camera, or maybe it's just a matter of convenience. So it could be anything, right?
Yeah, yeah, it could be anything. There's also VTubers who's like very shy, so they just VTube, don't even talk, so they'll just mute and just do
Mm-hmm.
whatever. But the thing is, like, it depends on what you want to do. So a lot of it could be like you want to be immersive to your chat
Mm-hmm.
as a different character. Like I said, it'll be pretty funny if someone did a worm VTuber saying, "Hey, would you still love me if I was a worm?"
Oh yeah. Regarding the design of VTubing, is I guess I think almost every single VTuber that I've seen has original design of their character. Although I know sometimes people will get random things from free resources online. I think there's some
Hmm.
free resources for 3D VTubers where they can download stuff for free and then just assemble things for free. So, what's the advantage of having, let's say, a character that's completely original as yours, where the design is original, as opposed
Hmm.
to somebody who can just mash something together from whatever resources that are out there. Let's say from Etsy, from I guess this other
Hmm.
website called Booth, where they get free stuff online and just put it together in the VTuber program. What's the advantages or disadvantages of having something that's completely original with a backstory?
Oh, that's a great question. So, for those who didn't know, I didn't have my OC, my original character, created yet until I started art.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, having a character that I can be, even using, let's say, a character creation, it doesn't feel like you're too attached to it, right? So it's all about the attachment and how you see it.
Oh yeah.
So you could create something and create a creation, and then eventually you attach it, but you probably
Mm-hmm.
want more. And
Yeah.
when you want more, that's when you start to get really attached to your character and everything. And once you get attached to it, you start building more stories, more like things that you come up in your head and really be part of it. I don't know. Like, it's just the engagement that you have, like how you're using your imagination. Because the way I think about it, if you're getting something like a random avatar that's already made, and let's say it's free, there's other people who's also maybe using it, and you're no longer feeling unique. So that is the
Okay.
question. Do you want to feel unique? Do you want to feel personal? Do you want to feel attachment to it? If you there's a program called V-Roid Studio, right? Which is
Yeah.
a 3D program that a lot of people can use to make their
Yeah.
character, customize it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I think I totally get that. That if you have something that's unique to you, then you can build a world around that character or build a story that keeps going and going, which is tied to your character. And it makes you you. And that's the beauty of having something that's completely original. I agree.
Yeah. And I think once you get into the part where you do make your own character and the lore and everything, you are starting to create that own world that you enjoy. You're able to tell that story that you want to tell
Hmm.
versus something that someone has made and others people can also use at the same time.
Mhm.
It's not as engaging because I see people who use same avatars on different streams.
Mhm.
I mean, different streamers using the same avatars. It's not like, oh, this person is amazing. This was make them set apart from this other streamer. No, no, no. A lot of people is thinking like, how can I be unique? How can I stand out? How do I do that? It's all up to you. Like, how do you want to do it? I mean, I could open a pizzeria. There's another pizzeria across the street. Are you gonna eat my
Mhm.
pizzeria? I could have the same ingredient, same recipe. This that it's like, will you eat my pizzeria?
Yeah. What if it's made by a worm though?
Oh my god. Now that's unique though. It's like, yo guys, do you check out this pizzeria? The chef is a worm.
Maybe I might try it. Maybe I won't. I guess I'll never know until I try.
This slice is a little bit slimy for some reason.
Yeah. There's a bit of soil in it.
Yeah, yeah. That's the extra taste.
Okay, so let's say I have a character in mind already. I have the backstory
Mm-hmm.
on it, and I have the art
Mm-hmm.
drawn for it,
Mm-hmm.
where I
Yes.
have the front view, side view, back view, and then some art with the accessories that the character is wearing. So how do I get started with this whole VTuber thing now that I have my character?
Okay. So this is where it's very difficult.
Okay.
So you have your character. Let's say you never designed a character yet. Let's
Mhm.
start from there, actually,
Okay.
in case
Okay. Okay.
anyone wants to design one.
All right.
But you already have it. But we're gonna go like a step a little bit back, just in case anyone wants to go through that. When you reach out to an artist and you don't have a character sheet yet, so a character sheet shows like how the character should look if someone is
Mhm.
making something for you, like an art
Mhm.
or whatever you commission them. You, you want to commission someone to put that all together. So what? How does that work? The more reference and ideas that you can provide, like visual by googling and stuff like that, great. They can put that all together. They're probably gonna charge you, I don't know, like max, like around average $300, right? So
Oh
yes, it's
wow.
gonna cost money. Yeah, depending on how it is. The more you pay, I guess the higher quality, right? You also have to
Hmm.
look at their reviews and past work that they have to do too. So before you
Oh yeah.
pay a random person $300,
Yes,
once
of
you
course.
have that, yeah, now you have to hire someone to do the art. Let's say you want to do live 2D, like what I have right now. I drew this myself. It took me 1 month to draw this whole thing.
Oh wow.
And yeah, so some artists will charge like let's say $200, $300 once again
Mhm.
for just the model. It's not moving yet. Oh no, what can you do? That is a separate thing. Unless the artists know how to rig it, so that's how they
Mhm.
make it move, like rigging, like blinking and everything. That will cost another, let's say, double of whatever you pay. Mine is very simple. Did it very simple. It doesn't have a lot of animation or smooth whatever. It could have been done better, but that would cost like, let's say, 300. And then if you want something like, if I turn my head and it's like look almost so smooth, like a good animation, oh boy, you're looking at thousands of dollars for
wow.
that rigging. Yeah.
Okay.
And a lot of people, if you're familiar with VTube Studios, like the big companies like HoloLive and stuff like that, let's say you want
yes.
something like that high quality, that's going to cost you maybe around total of together $3,000.
Jesus, it's like a PC already.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But you also might get your money back in return if you're able to grab the audience and everything. But it doesn't mean you should spend money on it. So
Yeah.
there are free resources. Like I mentioned, like you can go 3D. If you don't like 3D, there's free 2Ds, but remember, like other people have it. But like you mentioned, you have all that stuff ready to go. You have your character, everything. You know, you just have to hire an artist to do it, or you can do it yourself. Try to learn it. The best way, if you really have no money, just try doing it, because there's no harm of doing it yourself. Except for paying for the program. That's the only issue, I think.
Yeah, it might take more time, but at least you don't have to pay as much.
Yeah, exactly. The lowest end of someone rigging for you is like $100, and then someone making the art for you is $100, so it's like $200 minimum, or around there, just to make you, 2D. So it's still pretty good chunk of money in a way. 200.
Oh yeah. But again, as you mentioned earlier, you have to do your due diligence and do research. Try to see their past works. Check out the reviews, because you don't want to get scammed. Because I've known some people on Twitch that got scammed for emote stuff, and that's not a good feeling when you get scammed, right?
Yeah, definitely don't get scammed. I know there's a lot of people who also look at other websites, to do art and stuff like that for cheaper. You have to be careful of that, because I tend to see a lot of people steal other art to claim it as their own, so they can scam you. So you have to be careful of that. And if you want to find a good place to find artists, there is another website at the moment called VGen, VGEN. And you can Google that, and it's just all artists there. And the only way you can become like, an artist seller there is to get verified from an artist and the company and everything too. So it's not like you can just register as one. You have to get a code from an artist in order to yeah.
Okay, it's like an extra layer of protection. That's good.
Yeah, exactly. So that's that. And I know it's a little bit tough, but 3D is a lot easier to do design. Like, I think for those who doesn't know, like I said, 2D is a little bit tougher. So, but I'm more a fan of a 2D. So it just depends on your taste.
Yeah, it depends.
Yeah.
And if you're paying through PayPal, make sure you pay as goods and services, not through friends and family, so you can dispute if anything comes up.
Yeah, exactly. Don't give it as a gift. That's not coming back.
Yeah. All right, that was a really good interview. I had a lot of fun and then learned a lot of really awesome things about having serious conversations about art and about VTubing. This has been a lot of fun. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And last thing before we go, how can the people who are tuning in find you? So if they have any questions about VTubing or getting started with art, how can they find you?
You can find me on Twitch or my Twitter. Feel free to DM me. If you don't know where to go, you can find Sydney. Sydney probably can tell you. I talk to Sydney. So, yeah, if you don't know Sydney, talk to him. Trust me, it's worth it.
Oh, I love to talk. All
Don't be
right.
shy.
All right. Looking forward to another cooking stream. I don't know if you're gonna do another cooking stream, but maybe you can cook like ramen with worms in it.
Oh my god, there'll be so much protein.
Oh yeah, I bet. Protein is important, especially if you're trying to bulk up,
Oh,
right?
oh my god.
All right. Have a good night, and hope to catch you in your next stream. Take care.
Yes, thank you so much.
All right. Take it easy.